Call to order the Monday, March 28th meeting of the Verona Common Council. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we'll have the roll call. Ms. Clark, please.
Alderperson Diaz.
Here.
Alderperson Doyle.
Here.
Alderperson Linder.
Here.
Alderperson Reekie.
Here.
Alderperson Steiner.
Here.
Alderpersons McGilvray and Touche are absent and excused.
Thank you. We do have a quorum, just have a quorum, but we will proceed with the meeting. Next, we have public comment. I don't see anyone in the audience this evening, but is there anyone that wishes to speak? Is there anyone that wishes to speak? There's no one in the audience, so I assume that means no one wants to speak under public comment. So with that, we will move to the next agenda item, which is approval of the minutes from the March 14th meeting of the Common Council. Those minutes were included with your packet. What's your pleasure? We have a motion by Ms. Reekie. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Doyle. Were there any additions or corrections to the minutes of the previous meeting? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval of the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion carries. Under Mayor's business, I have nothing to report this evening. We'll have some comments here later regarding vacancies. But with that, we will move to the administrator's report. Mr. Burns, please.
Yes, thank you. I know everyone on the council knows, but for anyone that's watching that has not heard, I have given my resignation as the city administrator for Verona. Certainly have a lot of mixed feelings about that. I've had a tremendous experience over the last 6 years that I've been here as the administrator. I really appreciate the opportunity to serve the city in this role, and I've had a tremendous experience working with the mayor, the council members, and many very excellent city employees. The city is very blessed to have a lot of dedicated employees that really care about Verona and make it a great place. I'm going to be moving on to the next opportunity for me, taking a position with the City of Middleton as their finance director, which I feel will be a good fit for me and my family at this stage. And just wanted to say thank you to everyone that I've had the opportunity to work with. I will be here for a little while yet. My last day with Verona will be on the 25th, so I'll be here for approximately another month and for a couple additional council meetings. But just wanted to say thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Bill. And as a council, we'll have opportunities in the next month or so to make some comments. So certainly we appreciate everything that you've done, and we know that you've got another few weeks ahead of you with a lot of things on your plate. So thank you. Any questions for Mr. Diaz, please?
Thank you. I know no one's in the audience, but could you explain why 5 people is okay for quorum, just for the record?
Certainly. Quorum for the city council requires 2/3 of the membership, so with 8 positions, that would require 6. We currently have 1 vacancy on the council, reducing the total to 7. So with 2/3 of 7, it does allow 5 people to be a quorum. I did check with the city attorney in advance of this meeting, and he referred to some information that's been put up by the League of Wisconsin Municipalities, which indicates that in situations like this, where there is a vacancy, that arguably they do believe that it is appropriate to count that vacant position when doing the quorum calculation. So therefore, we would be good with quorum this evening. And I do have a couple other updates if I can go through. Yeah, no problem. Wanted to let everyone know that the Verona Area School District is holding a meeting on Monday, April 4th, regarding community growth projections. This is part of a series of programs they're going to be doing in advance of a potential referendum. That meeting is going to be held from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at Badger Ridge Middle School. And again, that's Monday, April 4th. Wanted to remind everyone that we have the presidential primary election coming up on Tuesday, April 5th. Polls will be open from 7 in the morning until 8 p.m. The city's polling locations are here at City Hall and at the public library. And I wanted to remind everyone that the voter ID requirement is in effect for this election, so people should bring their ID to the poll when they come to vote. And then a couple meetings coming up on May 11th and that is a Wednesday, I believe. First, there will be a Dane County Housing Summit that will be held at the Alliant Energy Center from 3 to 6 p.m. And the Dane County Cities and Villages annual meeting is taking place following that. The time's been moved back to accommodate people that want to attend both meetings. So the Dane County Cities and Villages annual meeting will be starting at 6:30 p.m. and scheduled to go till about 8:30 p.m. And that'll take place at Rex's Innkeeper in the village of Waunakee. And if there's any additional questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any additional questions? There was just one other thing I wanted to add in your response to Mr. Diaz, and as far as where the mayor fits in there, so officially, legally, the mayor is a member of the council, but when it comes to counting quorum, the mayor does not count in counting quorum, and the only time that the mayor votes is when there's a tie vote. But for quorum purposes, the mayor doesn't count. So with that, we will move to the engineer's report. Mr. Monpass, please.
So I trust everybody got the email last week with the report, but just to highlight a few things, Edgerton is working on the Northern Lights Now 9 Mound relocation, putting in storm sewer and utilities through there, still moving gravel from the west side to the east side of the road and getting that stage. The pre-construction meeting for the community park parking lot and Park Lane parking lot was held on Thursday. Notice to proceed was issued today, and not the 25th, because I forgot to send it out. But because of the weather and the amount of moisture, it'll probably be mid-April before they get going on the community park parking lot. And the contracts were sent out for the street rehab project to Raymond P. Cattell last week. I would expect to see those back to the city probably mid this week for review and signature. If there's any questions, I can certainly answer them.
Are there any questions for Mr. Monpass? Seeing none, thank you, and thank you very much for emailing those reports. I think that's very helpful to all of us. We'll move on then to committee reports. We'll begin with the Finance Committee. Ms. Doyle, please.
Thank you. Under agenda item 9A1, I would like to make a motion to approve payment of the bills in the amount of $243,666.16.
We have a motion by Ms. Doyle. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Linder. Ms. Doyle, please.
Thank you. By way of explanation, one of the larger bills was to AECOM Technical Services for the widening ramp of 151 onto Epic. That was approximately $37,000 and is a pass-through that will be reimbursed by Epic. And then we had another Harker Heating and Cooling, $20,000 payment for completing the punch list for the fire and EMS station.
Thank you. Any questions for the committee or for staff? Seeing none, the motion that is before you is to approve the payment of bills in amount totaling $243,666.16. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion carries. Ms. Doyle?
Next, we have agenda item 9A2, recommending approval. I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the proposal for the Public Administration Associates for the City of Verona Administrator recruitment process, with the contingency to authorize the Personnel Committee and the Mayor to work on the recruitment materials so they don't have to come back to the council for approval.
Second.
And we have a motion and we have a second by Mr. Linder. Ms. Doyle, anything to add, or did you want us to?
You know, if you and Mr. Burns wouldn't mind expanding on that,
Okay.
that would be appreciated.
Thank you. What I took the liberty to do is when I heard that Mr. Burns was leaving, I contacted Steve Hintz, who has been involved with the recruitment process for us the last 3 times we hired a city administrator. Their firm also did some consulting for the fire department. Mr. Hintz, certainly he knows the city. He knows a lot of the people that are here, knows some of the department heads. It's a process that we thought moved fairly smooth in the past. It was a good transition. From a cost perspective, they're very reasonably priced, in my opinion. It's $75, that'd be very reasonable. $7,500, which is the same price as what we had the last time we recruited when Mr. Burns started here. So $7,500 with expenses, additional expenses not to exceed $600, and then there's the cost of advertising, whatever that would be. So we're not talking an outrageous amount of money here for his services. Another reason that I suggest in this is certainly there are other firms out there that do recruitment processes. We could do that, we could do an RFP, but I felt that it was important that we moved on filling the position in a very timely manner. So I'm strongly recommending that we use PAA to move forward. And if you look at the timeline that was listed in the document that was included with your packet, I believe that we have an opportunity to move things even a little bit quicker than that if we use Mr. Hintz and their firm. So with that, I don't know if Mr. Burns has anything to add or if there's any questions. I know everyone has a copy of the proposal in hand, or on computer, I should say. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? So we are, just so everyone's clear, we're authorizing the use of PAA. We're also asking for authorization that the Personnel Committee has the authority to work with me and move forward so that we have an appropriate ad placed, and we'll review the job description. That's what we're looking for. Ms. Doyle?
If I could just add, just based on the positive experience with this firm in the past and the reasonable expenditure, we on the Finance Committee just felt that it would be good to expedite this process and ensure that the city doesn't go without a city administrator for a belated or an elongated period of time.
Thank you. I appreciate those comments. Any other questions from the council? If not, we have a motion before you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried, and we appreciate that greatly. Is there anything else in the Finance Committee?
Nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Doyle. We are now under new business. We have discussion and possible action regarding process for filling the council vacancy. Mr. Burns?
Yeah, thank you. As everyone's aware, we have a vacancy on the council in District 2 for the seat that was held by Dale Ures. By state statute, the council has a couple options to fill the position. It can either make an appointment to fill the vacant seat, in which case the person appointed would fill the remainder of that term and first be up for election in April of 2017. The other option, given the time period of the vacancy, would be to call for a special election which would take place in November of this year, and then someone elected through the special election would again be filling the remainder of the term and be up for re-election or consideration for election in April of 2017. Included in your packet is some information from the League of Wisconsin Municipalities that describes the process in additional detail for filling the vacant position. At least from initial discussions, I believe there's some interest, and it would be my recommendation as well to consider filling an appointment to the position rather than have that vacancy on the council for an extended period of time. The last council vacancy occurred in 2013, and at that time the process that was used is there was an announcement made. Interested parties were directed to provide a written statement of their interest, and then a committee consisting of the mayor, council president, and the other alder for the district interviewed the candidates. Those interviews were done in an open meeting. They're required to be done in open session, and other members of the council were invited to attend. And then there was consideration at a city council meeting to take a vote on the person to fill that position. So the items for discussion tonight are what process the council wants to use if they want to pursue an appointment or hold a special election, and then if an appointment process is chosen, there can be discussion about timing to place an announcement, how long we want to give people to provide a letter of interest, and then what the process would be to make the selection.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. Just a couple things. It was the process that we had discussed the last time that there was a vacancy in the council. Pretty much for the most part, the same people that are on the council today supported that process. Again, because we have a vacancy and I don't want to see it drag out, I don't think that's good for any of us on the council, especially when we have major decisions that'll be coming up, bonding probably during the month of June and so forth. I believe that it makes sense that we have a full council. I also, I know I recommended it last time, that if there's anyone that's interested, we ask that they submit something in writing or by email. Not just say, hey, I'm interested. I think it shows at least some initiative on the people that are interested to at least make that effort. Certainly, we want the council involved. It's not that we're trying to eliminate anyone's voice on the council. Ultimately, it's the council that makes that decision of who would be appointed. But we believe that again, to do it in a timely manner, and for anyone who's tried to schedule a committee or a full council and see how at times we struggle to get a quorum or find dates when most of the people can make it. That is the reason that I'm again suggesting the process that we used last time. So I'm willing to open it up for questions, comments, or even potential motions. Mr. Diaz, please.
This is a general question. Can we ask for people to submit a resume or some sort of biographical statement? It doesn't have to be anything official, but sometimes it helps for me to know the background, kind of where people are coming from, what they think is important to highlight.
Absolutely, we can do that, and I would suggest that we do that. Ms. Reiki, please.
I do agree with the process of, just for the ease of scheduling the meeting, to have it be the mayor and the other elder and the council president to for sure be at the interviews, I guess you'd call them. But I also want to make it clear that the other council members are welcome to attend those, and that it is a full council decision, that not necessarily what comes out of the interview time with those three public officials will be the end product. So I just want to make it clear that that's
Absolutely,
understood.
and that's what occurred the last time around. So I believe that there always should be a checks and balance system. There always should be an appeal process, and that's what happened the last time, and that's certainly fine. So we certainly, everyone on the council, if we use this process, everyone on the council will be aware when those interviews, if we even have interviews, we don't know who will express an interest or not. So, other questions, comments?
Need a motion?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the mayor, council president, and the other alder for the District 2 to interview candidates and make a recommendation to the city council
We have
for the vacant alderperson position.
We have a motion by Mr. Linder. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Doyle. Discussion on that motion? Mr. Diaz?
Thank you. I just had one general comment. I'm going to try to make the committee meetings, but if I can, I just wanted to go on record to kind of echo what Heather said, or Alder Ricky said, that you know, the committee makes a recommendation and ultimately the council weighs in on it. So I'm going to pick whoever I think is going to do the best job, you know, and obviously I'm going to factor in the recommendation of the committee, but I think, you know, I reserve the right to vote however I think is best. So I just want to be on record for that.
And just in addition, I think we all should select who we think is the most appropriate person, right? We might not all agree who that is, but that's what we should do. So, I agree with your comments. Any other questions or comments? The only other thing I would add then is that it would be our intent that we put the notice out probably on our website. Certainly there's no reason that can't be word of mouth, and hopefully the Verona Press will put something in as well as far as the vacancy and the process that we're going to use. So with that, I will call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion is carried. Thank you. Ms. Clark, do we have operator licenses this evening?
We do. I have operator licenses for approval for Mark Holliday, Robert Jackson, Christina Molman, Noah Reinkober, Scott Ryman, and Chad Simonson for Quick Trip, Michaela Topitzes for Grades Tide House, Jordan Ciccarelli for Francois Oil, Elizabeth Miller for Treads, Megan Clark and Caleb Weiss Williams for Tootin' Kate's.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the operator licenses? We have a motion by Ms. Reiki. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Doyle. Any questions on the operator licenses applicants? Mr. Diaz, please.
Thank you. I just wondering, could we maybe include the operator licenses in our packet? I generally just follow whatever public safety says, but I guess I'd kind of like to see them in advance.
That's something we can. Ms. Clark?
Thank you. Generally, we don't get the license list from the chief until late in the afternoon on council day. So, but I can certainly email it to you when I get it.
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Sure.
And we can check with the chief as well to see if that's something that can be moved up. Other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion carries. We are to announcements. Any announcements this evening? Mr. Burns, please.
Yeah, I wanted to remind everyone that on the third Tuesday in April, we'd be holding our annual organizational meeting. That would be April 19th. Typically, that meeting is held at 7 p.m., same start time as our other council meetings, and I guess wanted to confirm if that time is okay or if there's any preference for another time on that evening. I'm seeing some nods about 7, so
7 o'clock?
I think
Okay.
we'll plan on that.
All right.
I mentioned it.
You did, okay. Any other announcements this evening? If there are no other announcements, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Linder. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Reekie. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.